Hey guys, we are back with our next project, which is going to be hand warmers. I'm super excited to show you guys this one. It is so simple and you can do it with any size hook that you really want to. I'm using a medium yarn and a 5.0 millimeter hook. To get started, the way that I do this is I make a chain that is going to fit comfortably around my wrist or whoever's wrist that it's intended for. So in my case, again, this is a medium yarn and a 5.0 millimeter hook. And in my case, this was 35 chains to start with. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the moss stitch. So I'm just going to continue. I'm going to make rows across until I get to the point where I'm going to want the opening for the thumb, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so once we've reached this part, the only thing I really do different right here is I will just skip the very last stitch and I'll just turn my work before completing that. For me, this took me, I want to say about 12 rows to get up here. And I'll just continue the pattern all the way to the other side, and I'll do the same thing for about 4 rows. I won't do the very last stitch in about 4 rows. And then once I complete that, I will add on a couple of chains at the end. I'll show you what that looks like so that I can make the remaining part of it line up with this length, so that when we close it up at the end, because what we're going to do is we're going to end up like we did with the baby hat, we're going to end up stitching up the sides here, and there will be a little opening for the thumb. So what we'll do is when we stitch that up, there will be that wider opening for the thumb there. Okay, so I am coming back to the end of my 4th row of the shorter rows. I'm going to do my chain 1 at the end. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 more chains and I'm going to turn my work. Now I'm going to crochet into the chain 1 that I just did at the very end of the row. I'm going to do a single crochet and a chain 1. And then I'm going to go back, because this is the moss stitch that I started this with. So in between the stitches, I'm going to crochet and I'm going to continue the pattern across the way. And then what we're going to do with this, we're going to do that on both sides, what we just did with adding the extra chains on the end to create the longer row so that it matches up with the length of the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just make enough rows so that it covers past my thumb, however far I want it up on my hands. Okay, so now that we have completed all of our rows, which from the 4 shorter rows, after I did that, it took me about 8 rows, I'd say, to get up to the very top here. You want to leave enough of a tail. And that's the other thing, is that you want to finish on the same side that you started. That's kind of how I gauge this. When I do the 4 shorter rows, I start on the side that has the tail, and then I finish on the side that has the tail. I leave an extra long one here so that when we fold it over, we will be able to use this to sew this up, and I'll show you what I do to avoid closing this part up. But before we even get to that part, I do just want to tell you guys that one thing that I do to make sure that I have an actual matching pair is I'll make 2 of these before I start on that, so that I can kind of compare them and make sure that they are indeed the same size, the same number of rows and whatnot. And that way I have 2 matching pairs. Now on the first one, I didn't leave a long enough tail, so that's okay. If you don't leave a long enough tail, you can just cut off a piece of yarn that is long enough and you can use that. Okay, so we're just going to make sure everything lines up right here. We're going to start on our corner and we're going to start that process of sewing this up. There we go. Now remember, on one of the previous videos, the one where I did the baby hat, I said I like to take the stitch, the strand on the outside, and take it to the strand on the other side. You don't have to do that necessarily. I just feel like it makes it a little bit more seamless. All right, so now that we've sewn up our first part, The only thing I will really do here is I will just take my weaving needle and I will just weave it through here until I get to the other side, and I will start the process all over again until I get to the very end, and I'm closing up the rest of this part right here. Okay, so then I'll just continue the process. See? And it leaves an opening right there. All right, now that I've gotten to the end of the part where I sew this up, you'll want to tuck in both of the tails, but what I like to do is I like to tie it using the other tail that I started with and the one that I'm ending with. And I won't tie it super tight so that it doesn't like cinch up on me. I'll just do a little square knot so that it's nice and secure. And then you'll want to just weave this in a little bit and cut off the excess. And you want to do that on both hand warmers. Okay, so now that we have woven in our tails and cut off the excess on both of our hand warmers, we can now put them side by side and we can see that we have a matching pair of hand warmers. You can go ahead and give them a try and see just how they fit. This is super fun to do as a gift for people during the holidays, or if you wanted to give them out with hats. You can donate them to places that do come in contact directly with the homeless, or if you're in a safe place, and if you're a child, please have your parent with you if you're going to give these out to people. But yeah, these are fun gifts to make. And they're simple, and you can do any color, you can do any stitch, you can do any size yarn. Some people like to take the super soft chunky yarn with a bigger crochet hook and make them like super soft and fuzzy, and that's really fun too. So let me know what you guys decide to do in the comments, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Just remember that Jesus loves you.